Welcome to Reservations for One with Bills. I am Bills. Today we got a guest, my guy
Steve Bar.
Steve Barr. He came through, he came out, he was walking by the store, he came in, showed us some love, he showed me his product. He got a real dope product. Going to introduce that today. Now, what's the name of your product again?
Yeah. So first, Bills, thanks for being so cool and everything. Let me come on. Yeah. So I'm the founder of Pablos Mate. It's a ready-to-drink yerba mate beverage that I'm going to be launching in New York in about a month. It's in the process of importing it from Colombia right now. So.
You're originally from Colombia.
Yeah, I was born in Colombia, and I was adopted before I was born,
Oh.
actually. So I grew up in Maryland, but I got my Colombian passport. I've been going back to Colombia ever since I was like 21.
Oh,
so.
you've been going. Oh, but you went back. But you grew up. You was born. All right, so that's why you chose to sell mate and not coke, because you was born there. You was born.
Yeah, that's funny you say that, man, because growing up, I was born in '89, and in those times in Colombia, there was a very turbulent part of our history, a lot of violence, a lot of death because of because of the coke industry and everything. And then also growing up in Maryland, a lot of my like first idols were, like not idols, but like the entertainers and things. Stuff like everyone looked up to, like Jay-Z, Ali, Scarface. Like even just like the kind of like I was right at the end where like I was right at that moment when like gangster rap was cool and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like I remember consciously being a kid and was like, oh man, like I never sold drugs, but like I kind of idolized. I looked up to dudes who were like entrepreneurial and just selling whatever they could, and but I didn't really like the stigma of being like, because no one knew. I didn't grow up in like a Latin neighborhood, so it was like a white and black neighborhood, and so it was like no one knew
What
anything.
part of Maryland?
On the Eastern Shore, so like not Baltimore, not DMV. Yeah, on the Eastern Shore.
Shit, that's the only two parts of Maryland I know. I didn't even know no other parts. DMV, Baltimore.
Yeah. So it's like the peninsula is just directly south of here, like 3 hours south. But yeah, like I said, is one of my main motivations to like just kind of find something different was the search of like creating my own path, because being like with Colombian background, there was only you're either going to be like a coke dealer or Shakira, you know what I mean?
But Shakira's Colombian?
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't even know that. But all right, so who's the most famous Colombians? Top three?
Yeah, top three. Pablo Escobar.
I saw top five, because Pablo, Shakira, and then
James Rodriguez, you'd have to say.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. He's a soccer player.
Okay.
Who else? There's a few. There's like some international artists that you probably wouldn't know, but I would say Juanes is a big artist. J Balvin. I don't really like his music that much.
He Colombian?
Yeah, he's from Medellin. Gabriel Garcia Marquez is a famous author.
Did you grow up speaking Spanish? Or?
Nah, so I started. This is an interesting thing, because I didn't. When I always knew I was Colombian. Mm-hmm. My parents always like made me proud to be adopted and all that stuff. It wasn't like a hidden thing. It wasn't like a sad thing or anything. But I didn't speak Spanish until I was like 21 years old. I didn't start to learn, and but from there, I'm 33 now, so like I have a decent level of Spanish. I gotta
learn Spanish, because my father is half Mexican and I don't know Spanish. I got like a Mexican grandmother and I don't know a lick of Spanish. So.
Damn, you gotta speak to your abuelita, bro. It's what's interesting about like learning a language in general is like there's like this. You have like a semantic like syntax, which is basically they say like a language is the windows to your psychology, right? Mm-hmm. And even so, you have like front end a language and you have back end language. So kind of just like how a website works, you have front end programming that just does all the like the graphics and everything, but then you have the back end programming that does the functionality of the website, right?
That's a fact.
And this language is the same thing. So like for example, you have Spanish, English, American English, Portuguese. No, for real, because American English is a lot different than British English.
Listen, man, English, American English is the only language that matters, right?
But you have these like Latin-based, languages, and the ironic thing is it's easy to learn all those languages, because if you have the right foundation of of the structure
Yeah.
of the language, it's easy to translate. So basically, you have programming like grammar structures, and then just like can be very similar within the Latin-based languages. And then you have the different like vocabulary, the different like street language and all this stuff,
Yeah.
the jokes and everything, a little bit different amongst different cultures. But it's just interesting to think like, okay, once you understand the different like structure of language on a psychological thing, on a psychological point, then you can I don't know, it gives a different like a perspective of life. You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting. So anyway,
That's the Colombian in you. You feel me? I'm vibing with you though. So how long you been making the mate? And please explain to people what mate is, because I'm sure a lot of people, when you first told me that you were making it, I didn't understand what kind of drink it was. You talked to me about it, and I was like, oh yeah, of course. It's, So what kind of drink is mate?
So yerba mate is a plant. It's like the cousin of like, to think about it, it's like a cousin of a green tea, but it's from the Patagonia region of South America. So me being Colombian, Colombians don't drink mate, to be honest. You go to Colombia, you're not gonna find any mate in the market. But it's like naturally sourced from Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, Paraguay, and Bolivia. I think where there's like this river that kind of goes through the center of all those countries, and it was originally drank by like the indigenous tribes down there, and they would use it the same way you would use coca leaves actually. Like coca leaves in Colombia actually grow. They're just natural leaves. So what they would do is that they would chew on them, and it gives them. It suppresses their hunger, and it gives them energy, and it would be really good for like hunting expeditions and shit like that, and just to kind of get through it. And it's also, I mean, in its raw form and everything. Yeah, go ahead. Like they would drink it in these like.
So if I drink this, I'm gonna be like, can I drink this before the gym, or like, what is the main purpose of?
Yeah. So I created Pablos Mate. Well, I started fucking with a yerba mate because I'm a baller. I play soccer, and I needed something that was sustainable for like lifelong. Like I wanted something I could drink for my entire life. That's not gonna fuck with me like a Red Bull or like a Explode. I would say not to hate on Red Bull or anything, but but like
pre-workout.
Pre-workouts are not sustainable, bro.
Yeah,
you do that for a few years.
I'd be like,
yes.
Because any given night I drink pre-workout in the morning, then a coffee, then I'm drinking fucking liquor, alcohol. That should be breaking me down.
Yeah, exactly. Your kidneys just at the end of the week can be like killing you, and I've done that. So. But this is just a pure plant. What they do is they dry it out, kind of just like mezcal. They'll dry it and they'll smoke it, right? And then they chop up the leaves and they sell it in like the loose leaf half-kilo bags. So instead of selling kilos of coke, Pablo
shit, can we turn this to a drug? Shit, you got me thinking, man. Maybe I could be the first mate seller out
to
here.
be honest, bro, I mean, it's more scalable than coke. You know, it's more.
And is it easy to get over here?
Bro. I mean, we
have a talk off camera about what else we could do with this motherfucker.
But basically, yeah. So Pablos Mate is a ready to drink like yerba mate concentrate with lemon juice and soda water. So basically, it functions like a Red Bull. You would drink it before a game, before a workout. But it's really cool is that it mixes really good with beer. So if you like half and half with a beer. If you're not a huge if you're not a beer snob or whatever, like I don't really care about.
Yeah, I hang out with white people, so I drink mad beer now. I wasn't a beer drinker for the first 20-something years of my life. Then, but my son Bash, shout out to Bash, got me drinking beers heavy. So
yeah. Anyway, I feel you. Like it's the same.
So how long you been doing it? How long?
So I started. I created it about 3 years ago. Right, so I
got any partners or anything?
Not. I have a co-founder who's one of my best friends. He just kind of got on board recently. And I love this guy just because like my brain is like I got that entrepreneurial like visionary like my head's in the clouds like I can see things and I can make things happen in a certain way. But he's more rooted in logic and he's an engineer, so like he really brings some weight to my dreams, which is a good thing because you need to be able to balance, you need to be able to create that bridge, you know what I mean? So
what was the motivation to have you making? You said sports, and I know like I started my brand because of heartbreak. I got my heart broken or and I was just like, fuck it, man, I can't do this anymore, man. I just went into my heartbreak and came out with my brand? Like, what was the main motivation of this? Have you ever had your heart broken too?
Oh, for sure, bro. Yo, first of all, I feel you on that, and sorry about that, because having a heartbreak is the worst fucking thing ever. It's a good thing, and in hindsight, it's a good thing.
Right, make you feel like you're going to die though when you're going through it. You be like, oh,
yo, yeah, man. Actually, I went through a serious breakup. Through the process over the past like 3 years. It's still complicated. Anyway, but how I started Pablo's, if there's one thing that like anyone's gonna take from this moment is that I would want people to know that Pablos Mate is an example of alchemy coming to life, coming to fruition, like just straight like having your mind open to reverse engineering any situation. Mm-hmm. So basically, I had my head open in terms of just like I was in the kitchen and I just kind of understood how things worked because like my girl that I was dating at the time, she was vegan. I went through this vegan phase. I'm not vegan anymore, but I went through it. You know what I mean? Like I supported her and I kind of just gave it a good shot.
Yeah.
And one cool thing that happened from that was the fact that the cool thing is that like I learned to break down foods and diets, right? And I kind of understood that like, oh wow, like certain food it does this and certain food does that, and like sugar does this and water does this, and we learned about like fucking ice you know, like like you can send electricity through water to like change the pH levels and shit. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? There's so many layers to like so many things, and so once you know, I just started to develop this like open mind, and then like my background with like music engineering and things like learning like signal flow and you know.
When you do music engineering too?
I did. When I was a youngster, I used to work in the music industry, but that's a different story. But so I just understood about signal flow and just like how to like reverse engineer a situation. Like basically like going to the store, you know, when you're dating a vegan, you know, you're going to the store, she's looking at every single label, she's trying to break everything down. You're starting to learn about what you know, how they name sugar and different types of names and shit. You know what I mean? They hide the name of sugar essentially. And so anyway, I just had my mind open and I just started fucking around and I didn't even I didn't care if I was a success or not. I was just having fun.
Right.
And so I made something and then like people like I was just putting it in bottles just for fun, and then people were like, "Hey yo, what the fuck is this?" I was like, I took it to one of my soccer games and like we ended up winning like 10-0. And
God, yeah, I'm gonna have to give me a lot of bottles for this.
I'm not even joking though. Like, I got the picture to prove it, and it was just fun to like, yo, what is this? And I was just like, yeah, this is something I made at home. They're like, bro, you gotta put this in a can, bro. Dope, and then Pablo is actually like a fictional character that I kind of made. Like, it was my nickname actually, because my ex-girl, I went through this fascination with Pablo Picasso, not Escobar.
Oh, I'm about to say, is he Colombian? Picasso?
Pablo Picasso's from Spain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I went through this fascination about like his art and his lifestyle, because he was like, he got ladies, bro. Like, he got, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I think like that. I don't know. I think part of me in a different life would be like an artist, or would be a painter or something. Just kind of like, it would be cool to step in his shoes.
Dude, I guess that was popping back then during his time to be like more of a painter. Now this is kind of like the thing. Being an entrepreneur is like the new being, like what a painter was back then. Being an entrepreneur, starting your own brand. So you kind of, it's relative to the time. Yeah,
a little bit. I mean, you definitely get it. You know what I mean? It's awesome to like wake up and then kind of just like let your creativity flow, and having that space. Like, with Saturday being in your showroom and everything, like where we are right now, like you feel the inspiration and everything too. Mm-hmm. So it's a blessing. But so she said, you're not Pablo Picasso, you're Pablo Pascal, because I'm Pisces. Mm-hmm. So she was just like, you're Pablo Pascal. So that's what she would call me. Whatever.
Hate Pisces.
Oh yeah.
I hate Pisces.
To be honest, you know, like that's just the language that like a lot of people use. I don't really whatever. I just like I entertain. She was like, you're Pisces, whatever. So whatever. But yeah. So she called me Pablo Pascal, and then when I made this, I was like, yo, I think I got something. She was like, well, why don't you call it Pablos Mate, because you're Pablo? And I was just like, oh, fuck it. Like, that has a nice ring to it. So.
Man, but you admitting that now when you blow up, you're going to owe her some royalties. You saying that she...
Everyone says that. Everyone says that.
That's what people say. That's why I always got to tell people, like, yeah, it started from my heartbreak. I mean, when I started the brand, stuff from Heartbreak, but I always say I got my heart broken 37 times. So it's like from all of them, I'm gonna give it all of them. But me, the type of person I am, once I get to where I gotta get to, man, I'm gonna give all my bitches some money. Every girl I ever broke my heart. I'm gonna just go back and get them here, give them like here 50,000 in a baby, 50,000 in a baby. Like Oprah,
Right.
you get a baby, you get a baby, you get a baby. So that's why I do work hard. That's one of my motivations to keep working hard and shit. But it seemed like, yo, man, you got it down pat, man. I can't wait to try this. I can't wait for the people to try this. It's like all of what I get from you, it's like everything you did in life led you up to this point. The engineering, the heartbreak, being a vegan, dating a vegan. It's like your brain is so open up, and I really appreciate people like that. Like it let you know that experiences, everything in your life leads you up to a certain point. Because I believe in this. I definitely believe this, and I definitely is gonna believe it's gonna pop. I'm gonna try my best to help you make it pop too, man. I'm fucking with it.
I appreciate that, man. And it's interesting you say like how you got your start with like your heartbreak and everything too, because you know it's interesting because you mentioned how like having your mind open, like that trying to bring like light to like a sad day in,
Right.
in that sense is like, you know, there is opportunity in pain, you know, for growth, and I guess that this would be, you know, I mean, everyone is kind of driven through some type of pain.
That's
you know
a
what
fact.
I mean? Like I'm not satisfied with, you know, I'm not satisfied with like, you know, the way shit is right now. You know what I mean? Like I'm not satisfied with like the way shit was handled when I was younger. I'm not
Yeah.
satisfied with like the current state of like the beverage industry. I'm not satisfied with the current state of like, you know, of the supermarkets and
Right,
these kind.
that's
I'm
a
not
fact.
satisfied with like a lot of things. So all that's really driven from I don't know. All that's really driven from pain. So
Yeah.
I do resonate with like Saturday, and one thing that brought me into the store and brought me to your brand is that, you know, like I think it's kind of corny that some brands, like some beverages, they're all just about the most happiest, shiniest day ever. You know what I mean? Or extreme positivity. It's like, hey, yo, like sometimes it ain't the brightest day. Sometimes it is a Saturday.
And that's not
you know what I mean?
realistic to be happy every single day, and so it's definitely more realistic that you're gonna have more bad days than good days, but you just can't let the bad days consume you. That's what I always say. Like I let my shirt do the frowning for me on my bad days.
Oh, that's
so.
fire. That's a bar right there.
But tell people where they can find you, like your Instagram, website, Twitter,
Yeah.
Facebook, anything.
Yeah, so I think like Instagram is we put a few things on Instagram that like we did a soft launch in Colombia last year, but on Instagram you're gonna find us at Pablos Mate. Mate spelled like mate. So just Pablos mate essentially. And then pablosmate.co if you want to check out the website. And he's not trying it right now. It's because this is an old can from my first production. I kind of bring it around for like good luck sometimes. We're in the process of importing it. So we should have the product here by April. So it's just, I mean, getting I never imported anything from another country, especially at this level. So there's a lot of cost.
Colombia, you gotta start smuggling it in. You really gotta learn that.
You know, that's one thing too. That's another thing. Pablos Mate is an example of taking Jay-Z seriously.
Yeah, listen, Jay-Z is my idol. Like we from the same in between streets in Bed Style. Like you from the same area, a couple blocks away from each other. So
hell yeah, and that's the thing though. But my point is with that is that like, you know, I'm not trying to smuggle nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to be
That's
like
a fact.
legit. You know, just like here is, you know what I mean? Like there is something about, you know, I want to be like institutionalized. I want to fuck with like, you know what I mean? Because there's still I want to make my space at the dinner table. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to like hide around in the fucking shadows. You know what I mean? Like you're not hating on your smuggling. I know.
Nah, I'm fucking with you.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like but you know, but yeah. Anyway. But yeah,
that was a quick episode of Reservations for One with my guy from Pablos Mate. Make sure y'all check it out. As soon as it drops, we're going to have some in the store for people to come check out, you know, when we have a little party in the backyard. So, it's Reservations for One with Bills. Make sure y'all go to Saturday.com to cop up. Make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast and to the YouTube. I'm going to put all his info at the bottom so you can find him and check him out. Reservations for One with Bills. I am out.